So the surveyor just finished today, and I wanted to get out here and make sure and document the stakes, at least the ones that I could find, before they came up missing, especially if they turned out to be in a place that maybe somebody else didn't like or agree with. So before they could get accidentally knocked down or something, I wanted to have pictures, and I put my phone right on top of each one of the posts I could find and did a dropped a pin. So my phone's not going to be the most accurate GPS, but it's going to be relatively close, within a couple of feet. This one on the southeast corner surprised me a lot because it is much farther east than I thought. In fact, you see that? I mean, this is that field panning west. I mean, we're way past, and that's the new bridge. That's the two bridges that were replaced. This is the one to the east. And I figured that the property ended at the middle of the channel, at the most of the creek. We're well past that. We're almost 100 yards past the, you can see my truck is on the property. We're at least 100 yards past the middle of the creek channel. So all of this swampy area would be considered on ours, which is interesting. I'm not sure exactly what, if anything, can be done with it. But it definitely is one of the surprises. And this is the whole reason why I like getting surveys. Whether I'm buying property, selling property, or just taking over control, I think every once in a while it's a good idea to get a fresh, legal, professional survey in case there are any questions. I've seen it happen even as a very, very young person. There was some contention, and a recent survey would have nipped it in the bud before it ever got to court. But like all of this, I had no idea. So that's all on our property. Now, may not be a whole lot I can do with it. It may be considered a wetland or not. I don't know. I've got to find out if any of this property is legally considered a wetland. If it is, that limits what can be done. If it is not, then it really doesn't limit. I can pretty much do whatever I want within any other laws and guides and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm about where I figured it probably just followed the creek, but it's way down there. So all of this would be considered on our property. I just kept walking and walking and walking. Where is it? It's got to be one. Okay, I'm going to drive around the rest of the property. I've been around it once, but I'm going to do it again. I'm doing it kind of with video. I don't have my GoPro. I'm just using my phone. Okay, I'm going to start driving around again. We know that both sides of this little field road are ours. We go to the creek over there. I'm facing east with the camera. So I didn't expect to see anything until we get over to the fence line over here, the forest line, whatever you want to call it. And there I don't know if they had some way to put some stakes out in the middle of a swampy area. I doubt it. I wouldn't expect them to. We got the stake close to the road, and then on up here, and you just draw a straight line. So the first one I really noticed, and again, unless I didn't bring a drone to really go look at that other area. But the first one I noticed coming up here, there's a little road that goes down, and that's a little field road. You go through those trees, and there's a little bitty field over here, and I think there may be some beehives. There is a stake over there, and it's about 20 comfortable strides for me So not heel touching toe steps, you know, the actual feet. So if my stride is, well, let's just say it's 2 foot, then that would be 40 foot in there. But there is, I've got some pictures of that one in there, but it's it's back in the trees. It's not right here at the edge of the tree line, and there's not an old fence or anything that I could see marking it. So I don't expect some of these markers to last very long, and they're going to get accidentally disappeared, I'm sure, just with equipment and stuff. But yeah, about 20 of my comfortable steps in there. So then coming up here, and I didn't necessarily expect to see, and wasn't looking for any markers in here, but then I saw a slight clearing somewhere up here, and they did have some markers. Where was it? About halfway or so. I'm looking closer now. That caught it out of the corner of my eye last time and stopped. Yeah, so about getting close to the end. So there's a stake and a tree, and it's about 8 comfortable strides. So you see a little double tree there. That's about 8 strides in. Now this is the one they had put the first day they came out. So this is kind of right in the crossroads here. Nothing too crazy there. But then to start going up this field road, and this is kind of what I was most concerned about, is field roads tend to move. And this is where over time, you know, inch by inch, if it moves very much, depending on which direction it's going, you can gain or lose a couple acres. So this one, not a huge surprise, about the middle of where kind of the road was, and I really can't tell if the road seems to be moving to the east or to the west, but not too bad on this one. Now the next one starts to get a little bit surprising. And I gotta start doing research to see who owns and or is farming these other fields now, because last time I looked on like Onyx or something like that, the owned by a company name doesn't necessarily have the family name. Okay, so now almost the whole road on our side, which means if they're cropping up to the edge, then if I want to go back to row cropping this, we should be able to row crop up to the edge, or at least up to where that stake would be in the middle of the road. So as far as we're going, not cropping, 40 feet over, that's several acres of potentially lost production. So if I start planting trees, there's nothing that says that where this part of the road is, I could plant trees right down the middle, or even all the way to the east, on the east side of what's now the road, and still be easily within the boundaries of our field, still leaving room for the field road, which needs to move east. Now, with this marker, which would be the northeast corner, it is actually out in the planted area. So they literally have crops planted on our land. I mean, get a lot of wind, but yeah, there are literally, whatever this is, planted. This, where I'm standing, is our land. So there's, I don't know, a quarter acre planted. And not only that, but if we look this way, I'm putting the phone on the marker. I don't know if you can see. Let's turn it up again. You see that steel tank, the fuel tank? That is a relift on this next field to the north, and just to the right, and we'll go up there in a second, just to the right, just to the north of where that tank and the relift is the other marker. So there's another bit of our land that somebody else has got crops planted on. It should not. This road should be north 20 or 30 feet at least. Yeah, I'm sure when they see these markers, they're going to be thinking two things. One, is he fixing to sell? And two, I don't like where that's at. But this is how field roads, planning, just over the years and over the decades, and as you do road maintenance, whether you mean to or not, roads and rows and stuff like that tend to move. Now this surveyor, he's been working on this for like 3 weeks. At first, I don't think he understood exactly what I wanted surveyed. He didn't read my email close enough. I don't know. Anyway, there was a miscommunication. And when he came out here and I met him, he was like, "Oh, this is more than I thought." And so he goes up to the courthouse and looks up the actual records. Originally I thought somewhere right in here, probably the left or south side of this little field road, was probably the boundary, and that would make sense. That's where you would think it is, because you would think that once you get up here, this road would either be all on the northern neighbor or half and half. However, once again, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the surveyor flag. And technically that would mean that this relift and tank are on our property. There are wild blackberries all over the place over here. So if I get to this marker, and let's say I get behind it and look back, you remember that white post and the surveyor flag was to the north of that? So I am right here at this flag. That white post there is just to the south of where that other one is. So from where I'm standing, you can see how much of this field, this rice field, is actually on our property. This could turn interesting. Now, as far as going down the west side of the field, there's not a whole lot of reason to do that, because, I mean, the ditch is the boundary. Maybe not the center of the ditch, but effectively the ditch is the boundary. So, you know, this lower portion, of course, is ours. But yeah, so this is why I wanted to survey. There are some interesting developments, and now the question is what to do about it, if anything.